Afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, depending on what part of the country you're located at. This is Jasir Jamal from Texas 1031 Exchanges, located down south of the country, of course. So before I start this video, please understand that every video I have done so far and that I intend on doing in the future, including this one, is for educational and informational purposes only, and please do not construe or infer or ever perceive any informational and educational content I provide in these videos as legal advice. This is not legal advice. Please be sure to always consult with your own CPA, your tax attorney, and your estate attorney before taking any major decisions with regards to 1031 exchanges. And also, of course, do your due diligence. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So today I want to talk about a situation in which you and a couple of other partners are on an entity and the entity owns the relinquished property, and you and some of the partners want to do a 1031 exchange, but then you have some of your partners who do not want to do a 1031 exchange from the entity. And your partners understand all of you guys do not own the property. The entity is who owns the property. So what can you do in a situation like this in which y'all can go ahead, do the 1031 exchange, and the partners can go their separate way? Well, there's something you can do, but it's something that definitely requires a lot of advanced planning. I mean, try to plan it in advance, in as much advance as you can, and if you can make it before you guys sell the property, if you can make the decision about the fact that your partners want to go a different way and you want to do a 1031, if you guys can make that decision at least 2 years before selling the property, that'll be even better. But if not, then I mean, it's just best to do it as early as possible. But what exactly is that strategy? That strategy is called drop and swap. So let me go ahead and tell you what it is exactly. Drop and swap. So, well, let's say the entity's name is TLLC, no problem. They own the property and you have your partners right over here that want to do the exchange. Your name is J, the partner's name is N, the other one's M, and the other one's O. So you and N want to do the exchange, no problem. But then your partners over here, like O and M, do not want to do the exchange, no problem. So what y'all can do is that, look, at the end of the day, keep in mind the LLC, TLLC is who owns the property, not you guys individually. So what you can do is just do a deed transfer in which TLLC is going to end up being the new owner. TLLC is going to be the owner. They'll hold however much interest in the property. I mean, in this case, let's just say, for the sake of simplicity, let's actually add another partner by the name of P, and P doesn't want to do it either. So for the sake of simplicity, let's just say that P doesn't want to do the exchange, and then the property is just going to go ahead and be deed transferred over from the LLC to the LLC itself, and then to M, to partner N, and to partner P. So the LLC will hold about 25% of the interest in the property, and then the other partner M will hold 25%, and will hold another one, and then P will hold about 25% of an interest in the LLC. No problem. So this is what the deed transfer should be like. I mean, whenever your partners decide to make the decision that they don't want to do the exchange and you do, I mean, you guys should immediately get a deed transfer as soon as you can. So basically just do that. And on the deed, I mean, these percentages don't have to be exactly that way. It's going to be dependent on y'all. They don't have to be even. It can be whatever you folks desire and whatever the partners hold an interest in the property for. So of course you got this right here. And then when this happens, when TLLC partner M, N, and P will be the owners of the property, this will be considered, as I've mentioned before, a tenancy in commons. So then when the closing does happen, when you folks go ahead and sell the property, TLLC will get 25% of the capital proceeds towards them, and you and your partner, J and N, are still on TLLC. TLLC can go ahead and do the 1031 exchange, and then your partners over here, they will receive 25% of the proceeds at closing, and they can go their separate ways, and they'll be responsible for paying their capital gain tax rates while you and your other partner N are on the entity, and you guys just decide to go ahead and do the 1031 exchange while you're on the entity. No problem. Now, one thing I just realized is that N is actually the partner that's on the entity and wants to do the exchange. Over here, I had N. It's actually partner O who does not want to do it. So I just made that correction right over there. No problem. So that's basically it. So the reason why I said that this is something you guys should plan in advance as possible, because at the end of the day, look, the IRS, there's no holding period. As I've mentioned in my previous videos, the IRS wants to see that you held the property long enough to prove that you held it for investment. And if you just do a deed transfer just like that, the IRS can be a little flagged by that, you know? So therefore, it's best that you should do it at least however sooner you can. I mean, if your partner's made the decision about not doing a 1031 and you're doing a 1031, at least try to get it done, try to get this transfer done before you guys enter into a purchase agreement to sell the property that's owned by TLLC, you know? So that's basically how it can end up going. But then let's say if these were like individual partners, what would happen then? Not a big deal. It will be actually more simpler and you won't have to do the drop and swap strategy. Let's say you or J, your partner N, and your partner M own the property. J and N, you and N, you guys want to do the exchange, but M does not want to do the exchange. No problem. I mean, at closing, basically all that needs to happen is that you folks are just going to sign an affidavit saying that, look, I own so and so much percent of the property, 30, 40, 50, whatever. I own so and so much of a percentage of the property, and then the funds will be allocated based on that percentage to that specific partner, and then each and every partner will get their portion, and then in this case, J and N will get their portion. You guys can go ahead and do your 1031 exchange without any issues. M will just get their proceeds based on their interest, and they will go ahead and be taxed on it. So that's pretty much it, folks. I mean, at the same time, this drop and swap strategy does create another issue when it comes down to banks, because here's the thing. The loan, of course, is with TLLC as the owner, and as long as the payments are kept on time, banks usually don't care. But I mean, you always have that due on transfer and due on sale clause, where basically, look, if anybody transfers out of the LLC, and in this case, where if they decide to leave, or in this case, if they decide to own the property, it can be a bit of an issue, you know? The banks could call the debt due immediately, which is why that's also another issue that the IRS hasn't really taken into consideration, and they haven't provided that much guidance when it comes down to the drop and swap strategy. I mean, if I'm being totally honest with you, this is a strategy the IRS really does not like to see, but therefore, I mean, if your partners are that way, they can let it go sometimes, but as I've mentioned before, the only reason why they have an issue with that is because of the transferring. They want to see you hold the property for a good amount of time without any sales or transfers happening, you know, because then they might see it as a flip and they might invalidate your exchange. So therefore, that's where I can see the IRS having issues with it. But at the end of the day, as I mentioned before, the sooner you and your partners can understand that when this property is going to be sold, these partners over here are going to go their separate way, and you and this partner are going to go towards the 1031 exchange route, the better it's going to be. But at the same time, with the bank, I mean, it's usually best you should consult with your banker and just let them know that this issue could come up, and let's see how they go. And it's just best to have it worked out with them as well, while at the same time thinking in advance and making this decision in advance to avoid any issues with the IRS. So that's it for me today, folks. I hope you got some knowledge out of this video. I hope you understood how the drop and swap strategy works. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to address them accordingly. Until then, see you next time.